All right, after a day's rain yesterday, and I did some work out here in the rain. I didn't video, but I've got the rear end back out of this truck, and you can see it is just a muddy mess. Got the rear end out of this truck and got the brakes all off of it and everything. So everything's soaked. I mean soaked. So we've got our positive traction rear end in here. And I know I had said something in a video the other day about the wheel studs on these conversion axles. And so I called the axle manufacturer and found out what studs they recommended. And this is the stud that goes in the conversion axles, and it just so happens to be the same stud that goes in the factory axles. And I thought about it after the fact, and if you think about it, the holes in the axles are one size, but then when you press the studs in, the knurling actually opens the hole up some more. So that's kind of what threw me off. I wanted to verify and make sure before I forced something to go together that wasn't supposed to. But I got that going on. I've got the Posi diff sitting in here with the brakes that I took off the rear end that was in the truck, the brakes that I rebuilt. So they're all, I've got to tighten the backing plates up. I didn't do that. And then we can put the new wheel bearings and wheel seals in the end of the axle tubes, and then install the axles and put the cover back on, and this thing will be ready to go up underneath the truck. So that's what I'm gonna work on right now. It's a beautiful day outside, but like I said, it's muddy as I don't know what. But we'll get out here. We'll get out here shortly and get this rear end put in here, I guess. So let's go ahead and pull these wheel seals out and get these axle bearings out, and then we'll tighten this brake backing plates up and get everything installed and get this thing buttoned back up. All right, so we got the brake backing plates all bolted up, and now we're going to match up our seals before we pull them out. So we got our seal and our wheel bearing, our axle bearing, whatever you want to call it. So I get my seal puller and pull these old seals up. Alrighty. All right, so we got our new seals and our new wheel bearings stuck in the end of the axle tube, and we're just going to take the old bearing and use it as a driver to drive that new bearing in. It shouldn't be much force at all. All right, so we use this bearing, this old bearing, to tap it in, and when it gets all the way seated in, you can hear a definite difference when it bottoms out. So you know you got it installed right. So now we'll install our seal and we're ready to move to the other side. All right, we got a new seal put in there. So we'll jump to the other side and get that in, and then we'll be ready to install these axles. Alright, so I put some gear oil on the seals and some gear oil in the bearing, spun it around a little bit just to, I mean, I'm sure once this thing starts turning over, it's going to spin the gear oil up pretty quick, but we did that just so nothing's dry. So we're going to stick the, and I also put some gear oil on bearing surface on the axles. Alright, so I got my new axles in. And then I'll put my C-clips in and push the axles back out against them. Alright. Alright, so I'm trying to get my light where you can see. You got your C-clips in there. And I pushed the axles back out so they'll be on holding the C-clip in. Alright, and when you're putting your center pin back in, you want to line this hole up. I've just got this thing in to help me guide it in. And line it up with this hole right here. Now we're going to turn the rear end over so we can get to that bolt. So it goes just like that. And that locks it all back together. Alright. And we got this all back together. Now we're going to probably go ahead and pour our positive traction additive and our gear oil in while we got it sitting here, because it's easier to pour in than it is to pump it in. So we'll get that done and put a new gasket on it and we'll be good to go. Alright, so we got this thing ready to go back together. We got the limited slip additive. And we'll put this whole bottle in there, it's 4 ounces. And then we'll put 2 quarts of gear lube in there. I use 80-90. So we'll get that in there and get ready to put this thing under the truck. Alright, so we got our gear oil in here. I'm gonna put us a new gasket on here and go back together with it. Alright, we got it all buttoned up. She's ready to go back up under the truck now. So we'll get that out there and get it up under the truck and get her bolted in. And put the brake drums back on and get it back on its wheels. Alright, so we got this Posi rear end up under this chassis now. Got everything buttoned up. Need to tighten up this torque arm, and we didn't. I'm in this panhard bar. We had the one that went to this trailing arm on here because the rear end that was up under here did not have this mount right here. But since we got the right rear end in here, we could put the shorter bar on here. So we got that on here. Got the brake line tightened up. We're gonna make some kind of bracket to bolt from here to this brake line here to hold the flex hose. So we'll just make us a strap to go right there to bolt that solid. And let's get these wheels on. Alright, so we got this thing back down on the ground. Got the drive shaft hooked back up to it. And it's good to go. Like I said, I got to fabricate a bracket to hold that brake hose. And then hook a vent line up. Vent line up hooks to this cross member right here. And this whole thing got mud all over it. I'm gonna have to wash it before I can put the cab on it. But anyhow, so finally got all that done. It was a few steps backwards, but it's a positive thing because positive, that's a pun. because now it's got positive traction. So cool deal. But anyhow, she getting there. I got a little surprise for you guys, and some might like it and some might not. But something I'm gonna do to this thing, it really don't follow the rest of the build because it's pretty much all going back together stock, except for there's, you know, I do have a small cam and the motor and a set of headers on it, but other than that, it's pretty much a stock build, running a stock in cab tank and everything. Well, in the lower one, that's not stock, but anyway, I got a little something going on here. It's supposed to be here today, but I haven't seen it yet, and we'll show you when we get it. And it's something that should make this thing really a good driver, which, I mean, you know, it's like it would have came. It's got, you know, it's got the big block 454, which you couldn't get that in 71. I think you could get one in 72, but the 402 is the biggest motor you could get in 71. And then turbo 400 transmission, the 308 gear, which is what the transmission would have been mated to, and then it's positive traction. So we got all the goodies. So, but we got something else. I got something else up my sleeve that's gonna really help the drivability out on this thing, I think. And like I said, y'all stay tuned and I'll show you. It's supposed to be here today, but like I said, I hadn't seen it yet, but we'll see. Getting real close. I've still got to put the heater core in the cab. I haven't done that yet. Want to paint the power steering pump and the brackets and reservoir, the shift linkage, and then the steering column and shaft and everything. Get that stuff painted, and I think that's pretty much all the paint work I need to do. Oh, I got the little corner braces that go on the radiator support. I got to paint them. But I think other than that, that's pretty much everything. And so we do that, and we're gonna be ready to set a cab on this. Oh, and the front bumper brackets and rear bumper brackets. I forgot about them. So yeah, I got to paint those yet. But other than that, that's pretty much everything that we got to do. So we're not far. And like I say, you stay tuned and I'll show you as we go.